Hey guys, welcome back to Just Winging It. Today we're getting into another little project for the Kenworth again, and this time we're going to put a set of train horns on it because the air horns that are on it are no good. They sound like an old sick cow. So we've got a set of horns here, and I'm going to give you a quick rundown what we're going to do with them. So there's the horns, and they run on a solenoid, electric solenoid. Now we could put direct air into them and run off an air valve, but the problem with that is, and run an air line up and everything else into where the existing one is. But I don't want to disconnect the existing one for the fact that if I've ever changed the upper air horns, or down the road somebody else does, then the valve and system and everything's there. Plus, if I was to take it out, I'd have to cap the one airline because it's a 3 airline system on that valve, 1 in, 2 out. And then also would have to, or just leave it in there and remove it as far as where it's bolted down to use the hole. But then the problem with that is it's going to rattle around up there. So I'm going to do it with the electric solenoid and an electric pull switch. Now, I've done research, and everybody out there that's been doing this, trying to do the same thing, I see has run across the same problem. Can't find an electric pull switch. There is one actually made for it, but it's only one I found, and it's fairly expensive. So I've come up with an alternative, and I just got to see if we can make it work. I don't see why we can't. So here's what I'm going to do. So I got the horns with the solenoid. I've replaced the fitting. They give you this chintzy little fitting to put a clear plastic hose onto the airline. Well, some of these don't have clear plastic hoses on them. They're hard plastic hose that's on the whole truck. So I replaced this fitting, that fitting, with this fitting. That'll take the standard semi airline. And that'll be teed into the truck air supply somewhere and go to the horn, and then I only have to run a wire from the solenoid, one to the ground side of the battery, one on up to where I'm going to put my switch in the truck, which is going to be where they used to have them in most semis, which is to the left side of the driver, just above the door there. They used to always have a droopy cable run from one to the other to an anchor point. Well, I'm going to leave it with a straight pull cord like it's got on the front now, because mine now originally is in front of the windshield. So what I've discovered and what I found I'm going to do is this. This is a brake switch. It's a pull brake switch, universal, and you just simply main power in, power out to the horn, and then when you pull it, it makes contact. So I had another style, a lever type, but it's naturally open and it has power all the time, and when you pull it, it breaks power. So that's no good for our application. I need one that is going to connect power when you pull it, and that's what this one does. So I'm going to mount it up in the side of the truck to the left of the driver in the corner, and run a couple wires, and then all we got to do is put a hole through for this and attach a lanyard some way or another, and then that way that will power the solenoid and the horn. Okay, we're going to start by mounting the horns here. Let's get at it. The little bracket that came with it. I happened to get lucky and find a set of holes that almost matched the bracket holes in this little spot right up under there. I just had to ream them out a little bit bigger. Those ones. And I gotta see if I can get my hands up in there to get nut on, or whether we're gonna have to go the other way. arms don't bend well. I got a funny feeling this is going to be a two-man operation. I might have to. I think we're going to have to reverse our intentions here. And put them down through the other way. Oh, drop it in there. Oh my. Oh, I can't see my bad arm. Up there. Okay, not having much luck getting this in here, so I got one more little trick up my sleeve. The old wire trick. Just wrap a little bit of wire around a stiff piece of wire around your bolt, and hopefully that'll allow us to reach on up in there and get it in. If not, this will be a fantastic failure, and we might have to relocate. Okay, once we got to where we could see, that wasn't so bad. Now the other half of the trick is going to be to hold it and put the bracket and nut on. Okay, one. And we just give that a pull. Pull our wire out. And pull your wire. Barbara? Now. A little bit. Trying to get these bolts into this bracket for my horn. It's can't get hand in there to maneuver it, so I have to deploy some tricks. I did manage one, so this one shouldn't be horrible.
Linda texted me to give me an update on the basement. Drywall's done, floors are going in now, and the painters are coming on Friday.
Nice.
I said, woo, it'll be done before Christmas.
Yeah.
Patty texted to say they were home, they had a great time. The weather was okay, they only got wet once.
Oh, I don't think my hole's going to be close enough. I thought when I put that up there before it kind of matched enough, but nope, it's not going to be close enough. Oh my. Okay. Yeah, gonna have to come up with plan B. Language, Barbara, language.
Sorry, you can edit.
Okay, guys, after all that fighting, we're going new plan. Because those holes are not as close as they looked when I first put this up here after I reamed them out even. And I don't want to drill them any bigger, and I'd have to drill 2 new holes there now to make it work. And I suppose, yeah, no, I'd have to do 2 new holes. So I got a new plan. After all that fighting, and we're gonna put them right here. And we won't even need the bracket. Once I can get my bolt back out of there. There's the washer. And where did the bolt go? Oh, over here. And there's the bolt. Okay, so new plan. I'm gonna move them right here. You can see that. Right there. I don't know why we just didn't think to do that to start with, to be honest with you, but we seen that spot. It looked like it tucked them up there nicely, which it would have. It would have kept them up there totally out of the way. But this won't be much difference. I got 1 hole here we can use. I got 1 hole we can use, and I just got to drill another one, and that'll put them in there like that. So that's where we're gonna go. New plan. Okay. So guys, now you know why we're just winging it, because that's what we do most of the time. All right, that was easy. The other one probably won't be so easy, but it's not very thick stuff, so shouldn't be a problem. There they're mounted, not touching anything where they shouldn't be. Now we're just going to need to run some power and an air line, but I got to get under and investigate the air line yet. On these air horns, okay, we're debating which way to go for power and stuff. And instead of trying to find a wire up in the front console and feed it around, I'm just going to wire power right to the battery and ground right to the battery, and then I'm going to chase the wires up through where we run the stereo wires, and I'm hoping I'll be able to get it back through there. So we'll go from the batteries across here, and then they go up into here, which I will have to clean out a lot of junk. And then I can go through and get up into the sleeper through here, and then feed it where my stereo wires run, which cross the bottom drawer, and then tucked in behind and up over the top, and it'll take us right to where we are going to put the switch. So and anybody doing this, and your wire is going to be out, well, anywhere your wire is going to be technically, spend a little extra money and get the heat shrink connectors. They're a far better connector. They seal it, with the glue in them, they seal the ends for outside to keep corrosion out. So just spend a little bit extra money and use them. They're far better. Now this is not a polarity sensitive solenoid, so it don't matter which one of these leads you put the power to or the ground to. Just nipping off these round terminals because I don't have any of them. And we're gonna connect directly with a butt connector. Now I gotta see about chasing a couple wires up through the cabin in. One that's gonna come back down here for the from the switch to the power on the solenoid, and one that's gonna go from the battery up. Tricky part is they're both red wires, keeping them separate. Maybe I'll find a different color wire, keep it simple. Okay, I made an executive decision. So I'm gonna start in the truck, try and chase it down through. That's gonna be the worst part of the job. One thing with the standard, there's not as much room up here in the front. I've got a whalebone, plastic, so that I can tuck it in without marking up the plastics too bad, hopefully. It's gonna be a freaking nightmare.
Do you want that solar back on, or did you turn
Oh
it
yeah,
on?
yeah, I forgot. Okay, managed to get them fished through. I'll have to neaten it up because I don't want them there. They'll go down to the bottom and across. Get them, pull these buttons out over here and get them tucked further in behind there so nothing gets pinched. And then we come down, come out underneath here, and where we followed the other stereo wires along, and then down here into the baggage compartment outside. And then now that'll just allow me to turn around and go out there and make sure we got enough wire, and then put the weight to the horn as a signal and make sure the red goes over to the battery. Okay, we're down in the baggage bay. Now I gotta go down through the floor and come out underneath. Now, where is he taped in? There we go. Next part will be doing the switch. That may not be as easy, but we'll see. Okay, we're back in here. Not sure how well you can see up there where I am, right here. Oh, I guess not too bad. So back inside the truck here, of course, and we've got our two main wires fed to here.
So we got our wires running to here.
And
I don't want to fight too hard, so I'm going to leave them a little long.
'cause there's lots of room to tuck them in there once we get this process finished. So, red wire's battery, white wire's signal. You can see how much easier that made that, of course, than trying to mark which wire's which, if they're both red or guess. But anyways, I'll strip these and I'll show you. Some may know about them, some may not. I was going to use them in another project we did a little while ago, but I didn't have enough places to use them. And that is the ferrules on the end of the wires so that they're not frayed out. So hopefully this little project, they'll be useful. So that's what they are. And of course the wire goes in the black end and this inserts into your terminal, which I have pre-checked on my switch, and they do fit. So you slide them over the terminal. So you got to strip about a good ½ inch so that your wire's fully through, so you know it's in there good. These pliers, crimpers, crimp that on to the wire and make a nice, neat, tidy end to insert into a terminal. That way you get no frayed wires. See, that one I couldn't quite see the wire out the end. So I'll take just a little bit more off. And I like to be able to see the wire in the end, so I know I'm getting a good crimp on the whole thing. There we go, that's better. Just like that. And then if you do end up with a little bit too much wire, you can just trim it off like that, right flush. And you got a nice terminal to put into your, a nice wire end to put into your terminal. In this case, it's our switch into those little hole terminals there. And then that way, they fit in there nice and neat. That wire's down, but they'll fit in there nice and neat, one on each terminal. And you don't have to worry about wires fraying out and going all mucky when you tighten the screw down, how they all spread. You don't get none of that. So now it's time to drill a couple holes, see about getting our switch mounted, and how we're going to be able to bring that pull cord through. This uses a spring because it's supposed to be on a brake pedal. I don't need that much spring. I may cut it short and make another wrap and then put the key ring through it from the our other lanyard here. We're going to use this lanyard if I can get it off of there, at least for now anyways. And it doesn't need to be there because that set of air horns does not work very well. Finally got it in, and I'll be honest, it was a real chore. Had to put the bolts down through because there was no way of getting a nut on it going the other way. So I got it up in there. Pulls, seems to pull the switch. Now I just got to hook the battery up and see that it clicks the solenoid. And if it does, that part's all done. Just got to put the truck back together. Get that done in here. So we got it all buttoned back up. Wires all hidden neatly, tie wrapped, put away. It does work. You just have to pull a little harder than I would have liked because of the angle. But I don't know if you could hear that click, but that's the solenoid clicking. So that's half the battle. Now we got to go on underneath the truck. Mentioned earlier I had to find an airline, and surprisingly there's no 3/8 airline that I can just tap into with a T. But there is a couple bungs in the top of the air tank, so I got to see if I can get one of those bungs out and put in a couple fittings to be able to snap an air line into. Hopefully it won't be too bad, but we got to go underneath and do that. We're going down under. So that's next. And if I've guessed correctly, I'll have everything I need. And let's hope that bung comes out. So let's go down under. Oh yeah, pretty sure that's 3/8, isn't it? Oh, poof, a little bit of air. Yeah, that's only 3/8, not half. Okay, back to the old searching. Okay, news update. Uh-oh, where did I lose my fitting? It is 1/2-inch pipe. I was right. I just grabbed the wrong fitting. I grabbed a 3/4 reducing bushing, not a half. So, with any luck, okay, it rolled out from under there. And now we just got to get the horn hooked up. On up under there. We just have to air her up and do a test. Okay, when I get ready for that, I'll strap these up, get her running and aired up, and then we'll come back and see how they work. Okay, now we got her all charged up with air, and I'm going to show you the difference on what she does. So the original air horns, this was them. I'll put you up top so you can hear. So that's the original ones. They're not the best. They sound like a sick cow. Here's the new one. That'll get your attention. No doubt. So, if you see me coming and you don't get out of your way, that's what you're gonna get. So, I call that job another success. So until the next one, that's all.